Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we're diving into a really personal story, one that gets at the hidden battles so many of us face. It's about a journey, a tough one, from feeling completely and utterly alone to finding this incredible inner strength. And we're going to see it all through the eyes of a young woman named Anya.
See, if you knew Anya back in her hometown, you'd think she had it all figured out. She was that person. You know, the beacon of light, always laughing, always with friends. But what nobody saw, what was hidden behind that smile, was something totally different. A deep, quiet insecurity. A sense of self that was, well, fragile. She'd just soak up any blame, like a sponge. And it's right there, in that hidden vulnerability, that our story really kicks off.
So let's set the stage. Our first chapter here is all about a dream, but it's a dream that came with a hidden price tag, a heavy one, built on a ton of sacrifice. And that dream? It was getting into Ember Fields University. But look, getting there was anything but easy. Her mom was the family's only source of income, and she worked herself to the bone to make it happen. I mean, Anya shows up on campus without things other students just take for granted, not even a laptop. So just imagine, every single day at this amazing school is also this constant reminder of what her family sacrificed just for her to be there. The pressure, absolutely immense. And all that pressure, well, it's the perfect setup for what happens next. We're calling this part the unraveling, because this is the point where Anya's bright, shiny world starts to get really, really cold. And that chill, it began with her roommate, a girl named Maya. And it wasn't some big, loud fight. No, it was something way worse, something so much harder to deal with. Just cold looks, short, clipped answers, this quiet, sharp hostility that would just make Anya's stomach clench every single time she walked into her own room. And that vibe from Maya, it was like a slow poison. It just started to spread. You know, this wasn't one big, dramatic act of cruelty. It was more like a death by 1,000 tiny cuts. You've got the whispered rumors, the side eye from other people, getting subtly pushed out of conversations. And then, one by one, the few friends she was trying to make just disappeared. All of that exclusion, it led to this loneliness that was so deep it felt physical, like a suffocating shroud wrapping around her. Can you just imagine that feeling? You're walking through these packed hallways, sitting in a lecture hall full of people, and you feel totally, completely invisible. It's this sharp, gnawing kind of emptiness. And when she was alone in her dorm room, that's when it got really bad. Her own thoughts just turned on her. She'd just replay every single little interaction over and over, torturing herself with this one question: why am I not enough? All that cruelty from the outside, she pointed it right back at herself. She started blaming herself for being so isolated and just questioning everything about who she was. But this is where the story takes a turn. This next part is all about finding a lifeline. It's that crucial moment where Anya stops just being a victim of her situation and starts, in her own quiet way, to finally fight back. And that really brings up a huge question, right? When you're in that deep silence, when you feel completely invisible, how in the world do you find your voice again? I mean, where do you even start? Well, for Anya, it started small, little, deliberate steps. She realized she couldn't change the people around her, so she had to change her own focus. She started finding comfort in books, just getting lost in stories about people who overcame things. She picked up a journal, which became this safe space where she could be totally honest, no judgment. And, this is so important, she reached out and reconnected with home. Man, those late-night phone calls with her mom, they were everything. Her mom's voice was a literal lifeline, and she gave her this piece of wisdom that sounds simple, but it's so profound. Strength isn't about being immune to pain. Real strength is having the guts to keep going even when it hurts. And for Anya, hearing that, it was a total game changer. So, with this new mindset, Anya started to intentionally create these little pockets of peace for herself. She realized, hey, this isn't about finding friends right now. This is about finding my own 2 feet, finding some stability inside myself. And it was the simple things, you know? A long walk in the park, the daily ritual of making coffee. These became her anchors in the middle of this emotional storm. All right, let's get to our final section, because this is where we see all of this work build into something incredible, a quiet resilience. Anya's still on her own, yeah, but she's not defeated anymore, not by a long shot. And you can see this huge shift in her whole outlook. Before, her goal was all about the outside world. this desperate, aching need to belong. But after going through all this, she built a brand new foundation, one that came completely from within, self-acceptance. She basically just stopped trying to build her house on the shifting sand of what other people thought of her. Instead, she started building on solid rock, a foundation of her own inner strength, and a belief that she had worth, whether anyone else recognized it or not. And look, this wasn't some big, flashy victory. There were no fireworks. It was a quiet, determined act of just surviving. She held on to hope like it was this tiny, fragile flame, and she protected it every single day, just refusing to let the loneliness snuff it out. And that brings us to the really powerful heart of her transformation. I mean, in a lot of ways, she was still alone. The campus didn't magically change around her, but she had changed. She wasn't a victim of her loneliness anymore. Alone, yes, but defeated, absolutely not. Anya's story is just such a powerful reminder, isn't it? That sometimes our greatest strengths are born in our loneliest moments. So I just want to leave you with a question to think about. In your own life, when things feel cold and isolating, where do you find your quiet resilience?